Hey everyone, my name is Rooster, and welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video, I'll be facing against the #1 rated opponent in the world, Flower Fairy, and I've recently been having a bit of a run myself at trying to snatch that #1 spot, but it's tough. Fairy is sitting at about 2,450 MMR. I am around 50 MMR behind him. So, yeah, I mean, beating him here would be nice. Now, he is playing casual. I'm playing ranked. So, you know, beating him wouldn't really do anything towards progressing, I guess, towards his rank. Or at least a little bit, but not as much as if he were to play ranked as well. But losing definitely would hurt a bit as, well, I would kind of grow further and further away from the spot that I'm trying to obtain. Now, in terms of matchup, I'm a quick supply specialist, starting with sledgehammers and marksman. I went for a defensive pack because I could see that on one side of the board, there was a wall plus an anti-armor cannon. This is hard to push into, so it kind of gives you a good idea of where the opponent is going to be. And indeed, Flower Fairy here playing aggro on the left side with a cost control specialist and a saber crawler opener. He decides to go for a fire badger on round 1. And picks up on a crawler as well, so as not to skip any deployments. This is something that I have seen a lot of 201 players go for, kind of pairing sabers with badger and just playing more badgers in general. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out as the game progresses. Now, he does win quite convincingly. I only have marksman, I only have sledgehammers to chaff clear with, which is just not adequate. And looks like I will be taking a decent amount of damage. If I can take down one saber here, I'd be pretty happy, which we do manage. So that's good enough for me. I'm starting with 3,800 hit points, which is not a lot. So taking damage early here, I'd rather try and keep it as low as possible. Round number 2, we immediately get unit reinforcements. Mustang gets picked up for Flower Fairy. I'm thinking, okay, do I want to get a Mustang as well to kind of cover the flank and, you know, deal with potential wasps showing up? Or do I want to try and attack the right side tower with something like a Rhino or this Phantom Ray? Or do I want to get some DPS to help out with killing not just the sabers, but also those fire badgers? And I think in the end, I say to myself, well, 2 deployments is nice. All the other ones are a singular one. And of course, you are limited in deployments every single round, but never mind. I go for the Mustang after all. I was going to say I go for the Void Eye, but looks like I misremembered. This does make sense now that I think about it, because I was afraid of him going Raiden. Raiden Fire Badger, very, very good combination, and I'm already playing Sledgehammers, and I wanted to grab Arclights for my chaff clear, which I do now. If I'm playing Sledgehammer, Arclight, and Void Eye, I mean, that is far too many units that are vulnerable to Raiden, and it's just not something that I want. So I end up going for the Mustang instead, which also would help me deal with a Raiden if it were to show up. And yeah, that's what we go for. Now, I do decide to grab oil on round number 2. I place it a bit further back because I was hoping that he would not ignite it himself this round. That way I get the slow on this turn, and then next turn, potentially I could try and set it on fire. Looks like we are managing for the time being, so pretty happy with that. We're also doing a great job at stalling this time. We don't get debuffed as fast, and we may even be able to immediately grab a round. Right side marksman, kind of stuck. We'll slowly advance towards that tower, but does end up winning. So very nice, the oil sticks around. And on round number 3, we've got some curious items. Amplifying core, not my favorite. I think it's a bit too expensive. But mass-produced Overlord caught my eye. And I was thinking, well, against this type of a board, I can either play Raiden or I can play Overlord. And Overlord has a good matchup into Raiden if my opponent were to try and go for that. So why not just go straight into Overlord? So here I decide to pick up the mass-produced Overlord card and try to immediately grab one. I sell out of that Mustang that I had because at this point I don't really need it. It's going to feed into the enemy badgers. It's not great against crawlers. And honestly, if I have enough boats, I should be somewhat fine against, you know, a couple wasps showing up here and there. And so we repurpose that money. Now, a deep flank comes in on the left side with a Badger and a Crawler. The Badgers have been ranged. But I do have my Overlord. And anti-air-wise, there is not that much on the left side for Fairy. I didn't put anything on the line though, so it doesn't look like I'll be setting anything on fire as of yet. Maybe a unit could walk into it, but it doesn't really seem to be the case. If I can kill all of the Mustangs here, I'd be pretty happy. Should be able to at least scam the round. Right side is under a bit of pressure though, and this might be a debuff into another debuff. As this side the tower falls, right side the Badgers do not take the tower, as the missile is able to take out those Fire Badgers. Eventually, that tower will fall, but not before most of the units have been dealt with. And again, it's only 2 packs of Mustang, so even a mass-produced Overlord with the reduced hit points is able to clean all of this up. Very happy with that, because if I took all of that damage, I would have been in a bad spot. Round number 4, both of us immediately picked the super supply. Kind of required, I guess, at this point. It's a bit tricky because both of us are, you know, a little bit low, especially myself, starting to get near that 3k hit point mark. But I felt like I could not skip the card. And if I can manage not to immediately die here, which, considering I have Overlords, I should be okay. I'll be able to make good use of that extra resource. Now, round number 4, we get more Mustangs for Fairy, or at least thinks about it, but doesn't end up committing. Goes for a Marksman instead, some Crawlers picked up in the back, and I decide to go for Armored Arclights. The reason I do this is because I felt like I didn't really need range on my Arclights. I felt like I was doing well enough without it, and Armor Arclights are really good into things like Fire Badger and also into Mustang, which are 2 units that he was playing. Good missile there, managing to kill not just a Fire Badger, but also a Marksman that was put right behind, so I'm happy with that. Right side, though, could maybe use some help, because I didn't do anything over there, and yeah, that just was losing last round, and might get me debuffed at a very unopportune timing. And it looks like, despite that Armor Arclight play, we're not able to clear all the chaff well enough that late Crawler comes in, the Sabertooth grabs my tower, and even though I took out 1 Marksman at round start, this one is still alive and able to take out my mass-produced Overlord. So not a good round here for me. Granted, it was a bit of a setup round. Just kind of buying more chaff, getting the Arclights with the armor tech. But I was hoping I'd be able to at least win it. And now we just have to get into more Overlords. Round number 5. Units, or rather items being offered. Improved firepower control system, definitely worth picking up. Super heavy armor is a nice item. Could throw it on a sledgehammer, but I don't have any levels available right now, and it is a bit of an expensive item. I do think I should pick up something. I mean, even if it's just the haste module. Oh, I actually do end up going for the super heavy there. Looks like I will go for sledgehammers after all. So delaying the Overlord play here to make sure that I have a lot of tankiness. So the reason behind this is, again, I know that sledgehammers are hard to deal with for his comp, right? Low-level Fire Badgers, Sabers, whilst they might be able to one-shot the sledgehammers, take a long time to get through the entire pack. And I also needed a little bit more chaff gear. The Arclights were almost getting there, but not quite enough to get rid of all the Crawlers. And sledgehammers aren't great by themselves either, but they should be able to make up for that tiny amount of chaff clear that I still needed. So it's a 2-for-1. I get some nice frontline to park my Overlords behind, and I also get a little bit of extra chaff clear. I go for another missile here, this time on the left, and one on the right too. This one does get blocked though. An opponent goes for Missile Intercept Sabertooth, which I was a bit surprised about. I guess it might be able to intercept one of these missiles. It's not fantastic though. And against Overlord, I definitely wouldn't be trusting it. So yeah, one of them does get intercepted, perhaps worth it. It's not the most expensive tech, and it may be able to intercept one missile here or there from the Overlord, but not much more. Right side still under attack, by the way. I do need to do something about this. And I may just end up throwing an overlord over there next round to try and attack the tower. Because this is relatively exposed as well from Flower Fairy. Looks like those sledgehammers are doing great though. And you can see how long it takes for Fairy's board to get through all of my sledgehammers. Now, I did mention this, but yeah, right side ends up falling. 9 seconds of debuff there, not ideal. Means that the sledgehammers will be much easier to take out. And importantly, I lose my overlord, which was a big part of my damage. So, we lose again. Take a bit more damage. And we go to below 2k hit points into round 6. Unit reinforcements here show up. We've got Void Eye, Melting Point, Typhoon, and Scorpion. I wasn't really looking for anything here. So just looking to sell. The Melting Point, the Typhoon, and the Scorpion all sell for the same amount. At least if you factor in the cost of the unit drop. So picking up any of those would be fine. I guess Melting Point could be the best pickup because it's the most expensive to unlock. So if I somehow would want a Melting Point down the line, at least I'd have the unlock available. But realistically, Overlord doesn't really have any weaknesses. So that unit should be able to kill everything. But yeah, there we go. We take, we sell. And Fairy decides to go for a Melting Point there and keeps it. Which I found surprising, but I guess he was a little bit afraid of the potential damage sharing tech, which I do have on my sledgehammers. And now he goes for Raiden. Raiden, quite good into sledgehammers, but not particularly good into Overlord. And, well, I have been stalling for a while, and now, with the unit cell, I suddenly have the resources to not just grab one, but 2 techs on my Overlord, and get 2 more of them as well. One on the left here to help out over here, and one on the right to push into the tower and also get rid of that Fire Badger so I don't lose my right side of the board as I did the past 2 rounds. Here we go. Melting Point should just get stuck on the sledgehammers. Might be able to take out a couple, but just not the ideal unit for the situation. Yeah, now my Overlord moving in, gets a tower debuff. 9 seconds this time for myself, and that should help a ton. Raiden getting targeted. Melting Point taken out from the side as my Overlord loops around. Sadly, the oil does get ignited at the very last second there, so he won't be able to get 2 rounds of value. But I do manage to pick up the round. Now, AA has been picked up on the marksman, so that could get scary, but for now it seems like I have enough of a front line to where that AA doesn't really matter. And we get a nice round. Very happy with how this went. We strike back, and we've managed to kind of get over that hurdle of double-teching the Overlord. Now, round number 7. Efficient Giant Manufacturing shows up. I could have 350 cost Overlords, but at this point, I don't think I'll be picking up, 4 more Overlords to make some profit from that card. So, I probably just skip. Oh, I guess I picked up the Smoke Bomb here. That's a pretty good one. If I can make sure that those marksmen get stuck, should be fine. Melting Point potentially getting sold, although Fairy opting to keep it for now. I sell out of my Overlord here on the line because I expected it to get countered immediately. And instead I just bring back all of my units here on the left. Adding another Overlord. Make that 2. Or even 3. And I imagine on the right side I will simply level up my tower. Because I'm expecting him to add units there. So, yeah. I should be wary of the fact that the counter push might win. So instead of, having a unit there that will likely get countered and die, I sell it and I just level the tower a whole bunch. And I try to push in on the left side myself. The beacon here should allow us to not get stuck on the flank for too long. And the smoke lands in full, which I was very, very happy with. Range on the Raidens now, 2 more picked up, so we're up to 4 Raidens for Fairy. But again, Raiden into both, typically not the best matchup. If you've got a ton of levels and eventually you get to EMP, you may be able to win. But damage-wise, it should be Overlord favored, even if my Overlords are mass-produced. And yeah, look at that. The Overlord doing great. Looks like I will end up going down, though, losing a couple of overlords in the process, but I still have some sledgehammers left to distract. And on the right side, the fire badgers are stuck on the tower. So as we get our debuff, move through our own smoke, we manage to take out the Raiden, and with that, all that's required is to take down the fire badgers on the left side of the board. And at this point, Fairy is starting to get low enough to where I feel like I could potentially gut shots and win. And looking at the enemy board, I was thinking, well, he's playing Raiden, and it doesn't seem like he wants to commit into Melter. In fact, I kind of expected him to sell it, because it wasn't doing anything. And indeed, there it goes. We have a unit drop, Wraith shows up, and that is what Fairy decides to go for. Adds it on the right side here, trying to perhaps push into my tower. I was a bit surprised about that when I saw it, because it's a level 3 tower, so it takes a while to take out, especially for something like a Wraith. I go for the Wraith as well. I imagine I will just sell that, although I could also throw it on the flank here to create some real problems, but here comes the play I had in mind. I finally link my sledgehammers. And this is the prime kind of scenario where I feel like Link Sledge is actually a very meta tech. It's super, super good against Raiden, because Raiden is nice into sledgehammers when, you know, they don't have this tech and they can take out individual sledges with, you know, their attack value. But now, the sledgehammers gained 120% bonus HP on top of the 30 from field maintenance. They're all healing, and they're distributing the damage from the Raiden. And Raiden really doesn't have amazing DPS. So when you click this and your opponent doesn't have a Melter, it's going to take a while for him to get through all of this. So I was hoping that he sold the Melter, which he did. And now we've got linked regen sledges with a couple more picked up facing his board of Raidens. Will it be enough? Mustangs here got picked up. Perhaps he was expecting me to push the right side with a Wraith and going for Mothership, but I don't do that. I say, I don't really care about the right side tower. You can have that. My marksman is having a go at that Wraith. But in the meantime, my sledgehammers are taking no real damage. The level 1 pack there did end up going down, but look at how much tanking these guys are doing. And then that Wraith moves in, gets the tower debuff. His Wraith is stuck on my level 3 tower. And yeah, these ground units are going absolutely nowhere. Healing right back up to full. And this level 2 Raiden doesn't stand a chance against the 5 boats moving in. And with that, it will simply be game, as all that's required is finishing off that Wraith, which we will do. And that is going to be plenty of damage to finish things on round 8. Taking down the number 1 rated player. Very happy with this game. I've been playing a lot of carry Overlord in general with range and overload. Mass produced was a first for me in a long time, but it worked out well. I think that the transition into Sledgehammer, especially kind of, you know, letting that Overlord sit on the back burner for a couple turns until we had enough resources to double tech, and instead prioritizing those Sledgehammers, realizing that the damage was not there to deal with them, was a kind of the crucial, kind of pivotal play here. And yeah, as soon as I saw the Raidens and I noticed that the Melter wasn't doing good, I expected him to sell that. And I know that Linked Sledge is just an amazing gut shot against a Raiden board if there's nothing else to kill the Link. So yeah, that is the victory. Now, what should Fairy have done? It's tricky. I don't think that he should have gone into Raiden, to be honest. He already had AA, basically, in the form of the marksman. So I think that, you know, maybe even picking up something like Scorpion here could have been better. Could have tried Hacker Badger. That is a thing as well. Although, you know, Boat is pretty good into that. But I think something that's less vulnerable to the Link play would have been good, because there's nothing else here that warranted going Raiden. They don't have a great matchup into existing Overlords. And, well, with my tech bar and the items I picked up, I think that it was a bit too much of a risk to try and make this work. But yeah, either way, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought about it. Have you played Linked Sledge yourself in this type of scenario. What do you think about it? If you want to stay up to date with my latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.